Victor Wembanyama is being touted as the greatest NBA prospect in NBA history, and for good reason. After getting into early foul trouble, limiting his playing time to just 23 minutes, Wembanyama was still able to record 15 points on efficient shooting, with 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. But even with flashes of potential, he also recorded 5 fouls and 5 turnovers. And while it's just one game, the pressure on the young French player is even greater than you might think.
Greeny, Victor Wembanyama is the singular greatest prospect in NBA draft history.
The greatest prospect we have ever seen.
Yes.
Ever.
When you think about Wembanyama, really?
This is not fair, and this is not realistic.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama from Nanterre, France.
When San Antonio won the draft lottery on May 16, 2023, the obvious implication was that Victor Wembanyama would be a Spur. But with that franchise comes heavy expectations. The San Antonio Spurs have a lineage of big men that made their mark in NBA history. In fact, the Spurs have acquired the first overall pick in the NBA draft 3 times in franchise history, and each time they chose a generational big man. In 1987, they drafted David Robinson with the first overall pick. In 1997, they selected Tim Duncan. And in 2023, Victor Wembanyama became the new face of the franchise. The expectations for Wemby are through the roof, and the hype behind his name is already putting him in comparisons most commonly with LeBron James. But as a San Antonio Spur, Victor could live up to the all-time prospect expectations if he comes close to what Tim Duncan did in his rookie season. On December 23, 1996, David Robinson suffered a season-ending injury. The Spurs, previously a Western Conference contender, faltered to a 20-62 record in the 96-97 season. Greg Popovich became an NBA head coach for the first time when he replaced Bob Hill during that season. And the Spurs secured the top draft pick through the draft lottery. And with that top pick, there was no doubt that the Spurs would select Tim Duncan.
With the first pick in the 1997 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Tim Duncan from Wake Forest University.
Duncan was officially selected first overall on June 25, 1997. In his NBA regular season debut on Halloween 1997 against the Denver Nuggets, Duncan notched 15 points and 10 rebounds, initiating a season with a league-leading 57 double-doubles. While lacking the flash of contemporaries like Kevin Garnett, Duncan's basketball IQ quickly won over the fans. His quiet yet effective style earned him the nickname the Big Fundamental from Shaquille O'Neal. Duncan played all 82 games that year and averaged 21.1 points per game, 11.9 rebounds per game, and 2.5 blocks per game. Pairing a healthy Robinson with Duncan transformed the Spurs, resulting in a 56-win rookie season for Duncan, placing them 5th in the Western Conference. At that time, the concept of having 2 traditional big men on the same team, known as the Twin Towers, worked nearly perfectly. Duncan and Robinson anchored the NBA's second-best defense and displayed fluid teamwork on offense. In Tim Duncan's playoff debut, he put up 32 points in a victory over the Suns. The Spurs went on to win that series, but were eliminated by the Jazz in the next round. In an era predating today's pace and space style, Tim Duncan's rookie season becomes even more impressive. For context, that season the Spurs as a team averaged 92.5 points per game, even as one of the worst teams in basketball last year. Because of the pace of today's game, last year the Spurs averaged over 20 points more than the 97 team, at 113 points per game. Duncan's 21.1 points per game in his rookie season made up for over 22% of the team's total points. His debut season was simply exceptional, with accolades including Rookie of the Year, NBA Rookie of the Month every month, an All-Star selection, and becoming the first rookie on the All-NBA first team since Larry Bird, all while finishing 5th in MVP voting and 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting. While 21, 11, and 2.5 seem achievable for Wembanyama, part of what made Duncan's rookie season historical is that he was the best player on a winning team. Can Victor replicate Duncan's 56 wins? Probably not. And no offense to Zach Collins, but he's no David Robinson. Speaking of David Robinson's basketball career includes elite college years. He became a standout player his sophomore season at Navy, and by the time he was a senior, he earned the Naismith and Wooden Awards as the top player in the nation. In the 1987 NBA draft class that featured the likes of Scottie Pippen, Reggie Miller, Horace Grant, Kenny Smith, and others, Robinson stood at the top as the clear best prospect. But despite being selected first overall by the Spurs, he served 2 years in the U.S. Navy, delaying his NBA debut until the 1989-90 season. But as soon as he hit the hardwood, Robinson was an instant star, winning the 1989 Rookie of the Year award. That year he ranked 10th in scoring, with 24.3 points per game, and his averages of 12 rebounds and 3.9 blocks per game were impressive, ranking 2nd and 3rd in the league respectively. Robinson also made the All-Star team, the All-NBA 3rd team, and the All-Defensive 2nd team, and his impact on the Spurs was immediate, significantly improving their performance in his rookie year, thanks especially to a much improved defense. The team went from a 21-61 record to a 56-26 record, just falling short of the Western Conference Finals. Duncan, Robinson, and Wembanyama have a lot in common. Aside from the obvious first selection Spurs big man label, they all arrived in San Antonio after the Spurs had a subpar season. The year before Duncan, the Spurs won 20 games. For Robinson, it was 21 games, and Wembanyama 22 games. In their rookie seasons, Duncan and Robinson both improved their team's record to 56 wins and a playoff series victory. For Victor, a winning season would be unexpected. ESPN projects the Spurs to win just 27 games this season, just 5 games better than last year. Leading the Spurs to the playoffs seems like a stretch this year, but maybe Wembanyama can exceed expectations in other ways. And while Victor's debut was far from perfect, he's showing signs of all-time potential. And while it's fun to look back at Duncan and Robinson's rookie seasons, it's important to note that Duncan was 21 in his rookie season and Robinson 24, and Victor is just 19. And with a franchise that has historically developed great players and still has one of the greatest coaches in NBA history, I wouldn't bet against Victor or the Spurs. How do you think Victor Wembanyama will do this year? Will he live up to the hype? Let us know in the comments and subscribe. Thanks for watching Basketball Pantheon.